Hello my friends, welcome to Prime Strings. I'm Henriette and this is lesson 20 of the Violin Class for Beginners course. And I'm so excited because we're going to be building strength in our left hand fingers today. If you have a red book, we will be playing exercise 36. And if you've got an older Crickboom book, then it is exercise 44. So let's go ahead and get started straight away with this exercise. As you can see in your book, the exercise is 3 notes slurred, but initially I want you to play its separate bows, and we're just going to play today in the middle area of the bow. So I call this the grand middle, so it's not very narrow here, but you use big bow strokes. Okay, a generous part of your bow, in other words. Now, as we play the exercise, we're going to place our fingers, so we haven't got a testing moment in this exercise. So let's get you ready, your violin in the correct place, your finger line in place, your thumb gently resting by the side here, and I want you to have a really nice space for this tennis ball. And as we've seen in a previous lesson, I would like your elbow to be under the violin, like that. Separate bows, here we go. I'll count us in for 3. 1, 2, 3. Lovely. Now what I want you to practice here today is when you place your fingers as you play the first section of this tune, leaving your fingers down on the string. So be careful that you don't play it like this. And you can probably tell why this is so wrong, because next comes my first finger again. So I need it on the string and not up in the air. An added benefit of leaving your fingers down on the string wherever you can is that you develop a feel for the fingerboard, and you develop a muscle memory for the distances between each individual finger. And that, in my view, is the most important reason to leave your fingers down, so that you create more reliability in your tuning. So shall we play this again and really work on leaving those fingers down? So let's get in shape. I'll count us in for 3. 1, 2, 3. Awesome, what a good technique you're using. Next, I'd like you to check that when you play, and especially when you play the second and third fingers, that your fingers stay nice and round, and you can probably see that like this. See, my fingers are curved. Sometimes I see that this happens, and that usually happens when you press too hard on the strings. So when you find yourself in this shape with your third finger and your second finger, try lightening your finger. After all, you've only got to press your string down so much that it is stopped on the fingerboard. Any pressure that you apply above that is really a waste of energy, because your note is not going to get any better. So if you find your fingers collapsing, let's see this time when we play it, if you can keep your fingers on your fingertips nice and round, and in most cases that would mean pressing less hard on the string. Let's work on that, shall we? After 3. 1, 2, 3. hoping that you did notice a difference there. Well done, very good. Now we're going to try slurring this. So let's think about the bow. If we have 3 notes on one bow and we're slurring 3 notes, every note should get a third of the bow, so that we share the bow out equally amongst the 3 notes. So this time we're going to start right at the heel of the bow, this end, and we're going to play all the way through to the point, but have in your head whereabout those 3 different sections are, because we're going to use those and we're going to give each of the notes one of the 3 third parts of the bow. If you find it easier, you can write a little marker on your bow and divide it into thirds so that you can see what you're doing. So here we go. This time we're going to play quite a lot faster. So I'll count us in for 3 and I want you to get ready right here. 1, 2, 3. And that requires a lot of quick thinking, doesn't it? Shall we do that again? After 3. 1, 2, 3. Awesome, really good. Now, I think it is slightly easier if we go 1 notch faster still. It just depends. We have to find a balance between where it sounds good with the bow and where the fingers can still manage it. So let's try one notch faster, shall we, and see what happens. So I'm going to go at this pace. Will you join me? After 3. 1, 2, 3. Let's do that again, and well done if you made that all the way through to the end. I totally understand it, however, if you didn't quite make it, and that will come. You just need to keep on going and play separate bows, and one day you suddenly find yourself being able to play that. Now, if you're already a little bit further advanced, because you may be a restarter, for instance, on the violin, you might try and nudge every first note of each group of 3 a little bit more, and that gives you a really nice swing to your music. So you might do it more like this then. Shall we try that? Will you join me? Just trying to push a tiny bit on each first note of each group of 3. 1, 2, 3. And let's repeat that. And well done you, very good. Okay, now we're playing this one more time before we call it a day, because you've had a really good practice on this song. And now I want you to check that you don't jerk the bow at each end of the bow. And I hear this sometimes. You see, wanting to be on time, you're actually going to be just a split second too early. So count in your head 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, so that you don't suddenly increase the speed of the bow at the end of each group of 3 notes. So here is our last playing of today's lesson. So make the most of it. After 3, let's get in shape. 1, 2, 3. That is absolutely fabulous playing. Well done. You're improving all the time. Super. So thank you very much for sharing your time with me today. I very much look forward to seeing you again in the next lesson. Goodbye.